Hello there, it's Cassie and welcome back for another Hurley Create video. Today I'm going to be making two cards focusing on these products that you see here. This background is called the Charming background and I just think it is so cool. It's red rubber, beautiful like heart pattern, and kind of look like flowers. They're really cool. And then this stamp set is gorgeous. It's called the Doodle Flowers. I love, love, love how they have an outline image and then it has a solid so that you can fill in the stamp if you don't want to color it. So lots to do with this stamp. Fantastic. And I'm excited to ink it up for the first time. And then we're going to be using, of course, some Hurley dark white cardstock along with these inks that you see here. That's the Triple Berry on top, Prom Queen, which is new, and the Tropical Tango. I'm going to start by, I have a piece of the stark white cardstock cut down to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, so the whole front of an A2 size card. I'm going to take the Prom Queen ink and I'm going to just ink blend that all over the background. I'm not doing a great job of blending it and I'm not really that concerned about it. Simply because I'm going to kind of mess around with this background a little bit. I'm going to stamp over it. I'm going to spritz some water on it. We're going to do all kinds of things. And so, yeah, so doesn't look great right now, but that is okay. I'm going to grab my distress sprayer, spray a little bit of water into my hand, and then I'm just going to splatter that all over that background. And then I'm also going to grab my distress sprayer and open it up and then just kind of tap some more water. So I love this paper and this ink together. It's fantastic because that's dark white and this is reactive ink to water. So it's looks really, really cool. All right, so I'm going to heat set that just to kind of make sure that that is a dry piece because I want to do a little more. Now we're going to stamp the background onto that panel. But I've pulled out the insides of my Misti because this is a red rubber stamp. And clearly I didn't measure it well to get it in there, so we're going to reposition. And then we're just going to have our panel down there and then we're going to ink up our background. So I'm inking this up with some of that Triple Berry ink. It's definitely one of my favorites. But you know what? I think I'm saying that about all of the inks. I love them all. And I really don't ever worry about having to re-stamp. Typically you might want to like adhere your piece to the background in case it doesn't stamp well, but I've never had an issue with these Hurley backgrounds. They stamp beautifully. Now I'm going to stamp out my flowers that I want. I'm going to stamp out 3 of these, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful stamp anyway. I'm going to leave the flower itself white because I want the focus to be more on that background, but I am going to grab the leaves from this, and we're going to stamp that using the Tropical Tango, and I just think this is so cool. So this is like I said, the first time I'm inking it up, and I think it's probably going to become my favorite floral stamp out there because I love that if I want to color this with alcohol markers or if I want to watercolor it, I absolutely can. But then there are also the solid pieces that will stamp in the leaves. I'm going to grab my alcohol marker, just the yellow that I had, and I'm going to do the centers. But then I'm going to fussy cut out each of the flowers, which doesn't take any time. I'm leaving a small white border around each of those flowers, and I have 3 of those ready to go. Since I don't have cardstock to match this color, I am going to make my own. I'll take some of that stark white cardstock, and then I'm going to ink blend, which you could do this if you wanted, or you could just take your ink and rub it right onto the cardstock. That would work fine too. But I'm going to ink blend that all over that piece of cardstock. And then I will stamp out my sentiment onto that, just using some black ink that I have. I'll stamp that down. You are such a blessing. And then it matches perfectly. Everything goes together. I'm going to trim this down in my guillotine trimmer. Flip it over, trim off a little bit more. And then our sentiment will be ready to go on the front of our card. But I obviously have to stamp on the inside of my card. So I've got this card panel all ready to go. It's even scored. I'm going to stamp out those flowers again, one on that lower right-hand corner and then one on the upper left-hand corner. This leaves a lot of opportunity to write if I'd like. And then I'll again stamp out the leaves on there. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And then we'll get ready to start getting our panel all ready to go. I'm going to take some liquid glue and adhere down my sentiment, using my glass mat to line that up. And if you can hear some jingle bells, that is Miles losing his mind outside the door. And then I'm going to trim off the excess with my scissors. But yeah, Miles is going nuts out there because we have workers on the roof and then we also have workers in the bathroom. And we rent, so They're all coming at once. I'm going to use my liquid glue to adhere down my card panel to my card base, and it is going to take up the whole front of the A2 size card, so there won't be any white border. And then I'm going to put some foam tape on the back of each of my flowers, and I'll peel off the release paper on those, kind of thinking about where I want to put them. And then I'll adhere those down to the front. And then when that's done, that's actually going to finish off our first card. Love it. Love how that turned out. And those inks are so versatile. All right, for our second card, we're going to kind of go the same route a little bit, except I want to do some second generation stamping. I did get a little, because I cleaned off my stamp, but not that great. And I'm not even going to stamp this very well, in fact. I'm actually stamping it, and then I'm going to take my microfiber cloth and kind of pounce it on there, because I don't want it to be perfect. And then I'll just stamp that down onto that piece of stark white cardstock. And then I'm thinking about it, and if I had been thinking, I just would have had another piece, because I could use this for something else, but I want the second generation, so I'm actually just going to flip this over. But I wish I'd been thinking and just had another piece ready to go. So then I'll stamp that down, and then there's our second generation. I do have a little bit on the outsides, but that doesn't bother me because I'm going to trim this down. So I'll pull out my guillotine trimmer. I'm going to trim this down to be 4 inches by 5 1/4, so that'll leave a nice border around the whole bit of this panel when I actually adhere it to the A2 size card. So there you go. Take a look at that. It's not perfect. It's kind of grungy. I like it. So, all right, now we're going to stamp out another one of the flowers in there. And I love this one because it has like, it looks like little hearts for the leaves. And it's just, I love it. So now I'm going to take the inside of that flower and the leaves, and I'm going to stamp those. I'm using the Prom Queen for the little flower that's the center, and those are so easy to line up, I'm telling you, so easy. So I'll just stamp all of those out. They stamp perfectly each time. And it actually wouldn't bother me if they did go outside the lines a little bit, just because then I think that adds to the look of the flowers themselves. But yeah, so I'm going to stamp all 3 of those like that. And then I'm going to fussy cut those out as well, just like before. I'll stamp my sentiment in the flowers. I haven't actually adhered those down, but I'm stamping out "You Make Me Smile." And then I'm going to go, and this is the outside of the card. So I'm taking some Post-it paper, and I'll adhere that down because I don't want any of the ink to get on the outside or the back of the card. So this is what I was talking about earlier. You can take your ink pad and you go directly to your cardstock, and just that way you have whatever color cardstock you want. So this is what I'm doing with the triple berry, and I'm not filling out the entirety of the front of the card because it really doesn't matter because that's going to get covered. So here we are going to stamp the inside of the card, and I'm going to stamp out one more sentiment in there. This one that says, "Thank you for your kindness." Love it. And I'm going to stamp a couple of the other flowers on the inside as well. So we'll just stamp those outlines, and then we will stamp their solid piece using that Prom Queen. I thought about doing the triple berry, but I decided to go ahead and do the Prom Queen. And so yeah, we'll just stamp those, and that'll finish the inside of the card. But yes, the outside looks like a mess right now because I didn't, do the entirety of that front. So here we go. We'll have a nice border. I'll glue this down to the front just using some liquid glue. You could pop it up with some foam tape if you wanted to. But there you go. And then we'll put some foam tape on the back of our roses, and then we'll adhere those around our sentiment as well. But I love how the background's a little bit grungy and it's kind of soft in that background. Very nice. And just to let you know, if you liked these cards, I will have a third card tomorrow. So be sure to come back tomorrow and you'll see a third card using this stamp set. But there they are, both of those cards. So if you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Everything that I use will be linked down in the description box so you can check those out. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye, everybody.